Welcome to the Wellness Lab Digest, where we help you to absorb powerful, life-changing insights from top wellness experts with our daily, bite-sized wellness podcast summaries. Each episode is packed with distilled, powerful takeaways to boost your health and well-being. To support this podcast, please scroll down on whatever app you're listening on. Ratings and reviews are helpful. Even better, just send the show to a friend. Or check out our sponsors at the bottom of the page, or simply click the Support the Show link.
All right, ready to explore something fascinating.
Always.
Today, we're diving deep into the world of circadian rhythms.
Yes. That internal clock that impacts so much.
Yeah, it seems to control everything. When you feel tired, when your stomach starts rumbling.
It really is remarkable how much influence it has, this master clock. It's working even when we don't think about it.
Exactly, and today we're sharing insights from Dr. Andrew Huberman's Huberman Lab podcast. We're going to be exploring jet lag, shift work, even baby sleep.
All linked to this hidden world of circadian rhythms. You'll understand how it works, but more importantly, you'll learn how to use it to your advantage.
Okay, sold. I'm in. Let's start with, a circadian rhythm?
Think of it as your body's conductor.
Okay.
It's orchestrating a 24-hour, symphony of functions. It controls sleep, wake, hormones, temperature, even metabolism.
It's not just about being tired?
No, it's so much more. It's about how your whole body works throughout the day.
So it's like the crew making sure everything runs smoothly behind the scenes.
Yeah, perfect analogy. When the crew's in sync, you feel energized, focused. But when it's off, things get messy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Poor sleep, low energy, mood swings.
That sounds all too familiar. So how does this conductor work? What's calling the shots?
The maestro is a tiny area in your brain, the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SCN.
Gotta love a good science term. But break that down for me. What's so special about this SCN?
This little region is the control center for your entire circadian rhythm. And its main cue, guess what?
I'm intrigued.
So
all that get some sunshine talk isn't just some feel-good advice?
Nope, it's hardwired into our brains.
Wow.
We should be waking up with the sun, getting plenty of natural light all day, and winding down as it gets dark. That's how our bodies thrive.
But that's it's not how most of us live these days. Late nights, artificial light everywhere, staring at screens.
Yeah, it's like we're constantly battling our body clocks.
Exactly. So how much does light really impact this?
Hugely. We're surrounded by artificial light, and it can throw our internal clocks way off.
I remember Huberman getting super specific about morning light.
Oh, yeah. He had that crazy number right.
Yeah, like 100,000 lux or something. What even is lux?
Lux just measures light intensity. 100,000 lux is like a bright sunny day. Don't go buy a meter or anything. The point is just get as much bright light, ideally sunlight, as you can early in the day, like within the first hour of waking up.
So more than just peeking out the window, like really get outside.
Yeah, exactly. Think how our ancestors woke up. Gradually increasing sunlight. Our bodies are still wired for that.
Interesting. I'm already rethinking my mornings.
It's powerful stuff.
But what about light at night? I know that's a sleep killer.
It is. Even dim light, especially the blue light from our devices, totally disrupts the rhythm.
So it's like we're sending mixed messages. Time to wind down, but also, hey, stay alert and scroll.
Exactly. Our brains link darkness with sleep, light with being awake. Artificial light at night tells our bodies it's still daytime.
That's a big shift in thinking. No more late night scrolling for me. There was this other concept I was curious about, temperature minimum.
Ooh, that's where things get really fascinating.
You lay it on me.
Okay, so temperature minimum, it's when your body temp is lowest each day, usually about 1.5 to 2 hours before you wake up.
So if I wake up at 7 a.m., my temperature minimum is?
Around 5:00 to 5:30 a.m. Here's the key. Light sets the clock, but temperature fine-tunes it. It coordinates your whole rhythm.
So light's the rough draft, temperature polishes it up.
Perfect. And the really cool part, the timing of light, especially related to your temperature minimum, can actually shift your whole sleep-wake cycle.
Wait, are you saying knowing when my temperature is lowest and when I get light can make me a morning person, or stay a night owl?
You got it. Light after your minimum advances the clock. You'll want to sleep and wake earlier. Light before delays it, so you'll sleep and wake later.
Okay, let me see if I got this. So to become a morning person, light after my minimum, but to embrace my night owl tendencies, light before.
You got it. Think about it. Do you grab your phone first thing in bed? That might be pushing your sleep later without you even knowing.
So my quick email check is why I can't get up.
Could be. And you don't need fancy stuff to figure out your minimum. Just take your wake-up time, minus 1.5 to 2 hours. It's like a secret sleep weapon.
I am officially obsessed with this temperature minimum thing, but let's switch gears a bit. What about jet lag? What happens in our bodies when we cross time zones?
Jet lag. It's a big mismatch between your clock and the new time zone. Like your body's singing yesterday's song, but the world's moved on to today's playlist.
Huh. I love that analogy. So it's more than just travel fatigue.
Yeah, your whole rhythm's off. And you know what's wild? Eastward travel is worse than westward.
Really? Why?
It's how our bodies are wired. We're better at staying awake longer than forcing sleep earlier.
Like pulling an all-nighter is easier than going to bed at 8 p.m.
Exactly. Eastward travel is forcing your body to sleep earlier, and it's tough. There's even a possible link to a shorter lifespan.
Okay, that's motivation to beat jet lag. Does the temperature minimum trick work here too?
Absolutely. It's strategic timing. To adjust to an earlier time zone, like going east, get light and exercise a few hours after your minimum in the days before you leave.
So kind of a head start for my body clock?
Yep, you're gently nudging it forward each day so the transition is smoother. What about going west?
Right, adjusting to a later time zone.
That's usually easier because you're delaying your clock. So light in the hours before your minimum helps you stay up later.
So it's all about which side of my temperature minimum I get light on, depending on where I'm going.
Exactly. And don't shock your system. Gradual shifts are key. Lots of people think just get sunlight when you land, but that can make jet lag worse.
So we're prepping our bodies, not just forcing a change when we get there.
You got it. Now, what about people who work nights or have crazy schedules? How do they stay in sync? Shift work is tough on your rhythm. It's like an orchestra constantly changing instruments and tempo. The most important thing is consistency, even on days off.
So even if I'm not working, stick to the same sleep schedule.
It's like training for your body, getting it used to a specific rhythm.
Okay, I can see the value in that. And I imagine light exposure is still important.
Huge. Maximize light during work, even if it's artificial. When you sleep, make it dark, even if it's daytime outside. Blackout curtains, eye masks, whatever it takes.
Anything to mimic the darkness signal.
And does temperature minimum come in here?
Of course. Just like with jet lag, knowing your minimum helps you time light and activities to shift your clock to match your work. Like if you work nights, avoid bright light before your minimum. You might even need sunglasses on your commute home.
Wow, that's commitment. So we're using the same principles, just adapting them for different schedules.
Exactly. The more consistent your sleep-wake cycle is, even if it's unconventional, the better your body adapts. It's about working with your internal clock, not against it. This is amazing. I feel like I have so much more control over my sleep now. But I am curious about different age groups. Huberman mentioned babies have a ton of melatonin, but it doesn't cycle like adults do. What's that all about?
It's fascinating, right? Babies have tons of melatonin, but it doesn't follow that 24-hour rhythm yet.
So those nighttime wakings and crazy nap times aren't just them being difficult, it's actually biological.
You got it. Their sleep-wake cycles are way shorter and more frequent. Driven by things like hunger, their internal clocks are still syncing up with the outside world.
So to all the sleep-deprived parents, it's not you, and it's not the baby's fault.
Exactly. And even though their sleep seems random, daylight exposure is crucial.
So sunlight is still key, even for babies who don't have a set schedule yet.
Yes. It helps kickstart their internal clocks and get that melatonin production going. Sets them up for good sleep habits later on.
This is mind-blowing. I'm feeling so much more informed about how to support my own body's rhythms.
Great. Are you ready to learn even more?
Absolutely. Let's keep going.
Back for more circadian rhythm fun.
I'm ready to dive deeper. It's amazing how connected this one system seems to be to everything.
It really is. And today, we'll go over some practical stuff for supporting your rhythm and getting better sleep. We talked about light, but there's another factor that might surprise you: when you eat.
Hold on. What I eat can affect my sleep. I thought it was just about avoiding caffeine before bed.
Oh, caffeine does play a part, but it's more about when you eat. It can actually impact your circadian rhythm. It's like giving your body a time cue with your meals.
I'm all ears.
Think about it. Your body has this rhythm for digestion and metabolism. It's best at breaking down food and absorbing nutrients during the day.
So late night snacking is worse than I realized.
Yeah, it can mess up your internal clock, interfere with your metabolism and hormones, and make it harder to sleep.
I see the connection. So am I supposed to eat dinner at like 5 p.m. now?
Not that extreme. It's more about having a consistent eating window, like 8 to 12 hours. That establishes a regular rhythm.
Kind of like intermittent fasting, but focused on timing, not just restricting calories.
You got it. Clear signals for your body.
Yeah.
And within that window, bigger meals earlier in the day, gradually smaller as it gets later.
So front load the calories.
Exactly. Matches our natural energy needs. More active during the day, so we need more fuel then.
Makes sense. But realistically, life happens. What if I have a late dinner or something?
Life does get in the way. It's not about being perfect. But even with those late nights, you can still choose things that minimize disruptions.
Damage control, I like it. What are the secrets?
Okay, so if you're eating later, keep portions smaller. Go for lighter, easy-to-digest foods. Skip the heavy, fatty stuff that'll sit in your stomach for ages.
So swap the pizza for a salad.
Exactly. And watch the alcohol. A glass of wine might feel relaxing, but it can actually mess with your sleep, especially close to bedtime.
I've definitely noticed that. Sleep's not as good after a night out.
Right. Alcohol makes you drowsy at first, but then it messes with deeper sleep. You wake up more. So moderation is key. Got it. Okay, let's talk about exercise. I know it's good overall, but how does it fit in with all this circadian rhythm stuff?
Think of it like a reset button for your internal clock. When you move, you're telling your brain, hey, we're up and at 'em.
So it's not just about calories and muscles, it's also about keeping our clocks in check.
Exactly. It has a huge impact. And when you exercise, can actually make a difference too.
Now, I'm really interested. Is there a best time to exercise for like optimal circadian benefits? I want to get the most out of it.
It depends on you and your schedule, but morning or early afternoon is often best. More alert, better mood, and you'll sleep better later.
Get it done before the day gets crazy.
Yeah. And it can help reset your clock, especially if you're dealing with jet lag or shift work.
Makes sense. But some people find evening workouts relaxing and good for sleep. Is there any truth to that?
It can be great for de-stressing and winding down. Just don't do anything too intense close to bedtime. It raises your temperature, which makes it harder to fall asleep.
So maybe a yoga class instead of HIAT before bed. Exactly. Listen to your body. The point is to be consistent with your exercise and make it work with your rhythm.
Okay, this is all clicking now. Light, food, exercise, it all matters.
It's like a beautifully choreographed dance, all these things working together. When you understand the steps, you can move with the rhythm, not against it.
Love that. I feel empowered to take control of my circadian rhythm. Anything else for improving sleep and supporting our clocks? Any lifestyle tips?
Of course. A few simple things you can add to your day.
Okay, tell me everything. I want to sleep like a pro.
First up, a consistent sleep schedule, even on weekends. No sleeping in, as tempting as it is. Consistency keeps your clock running smoothly.
So no more hitting snooze 5 times on Saturday.
Resist the urge. Same bedtime and wake-up time every day helps that sleep-wake cycle.
I can see the logic there. What if I have trouble falling asleep or staying asleep, though? Any tips for that?
A relaxing bedtime routine can help.
A wind-down ritual, like a signal to my body that sleep is coming.
It's exactly. Warm bath, dim lights, read a book, calming music, whatever helps you de-stress and get ready for bed. And no screens for at least an hour before bed. Blue light is the enemy.
Yeah, I know. It's so hard to resist scrolling, but I'm starting to see how important sleep is. It's more than just feeling rested.
Definitely. Sleep affects everything. How you think, your emotions, your hormones, your immune system. It's a full-body reset.
So quality over quantity.
Well, both. And that brings us to your sleep environment.
Okay, what's the ideal sleep setup?
Think cave. Cool, dark, and quiet.
So we're going prehistoric for better sleep.
Well, there's a reason our ancestors slept so well in caves. Our bodies still like those conditions. Make sure your bedroom's dark enough. Blackout curtains, an eye mask, block out all the light.
I've noticed even those little LEDs on electronics can be distracting in a dark room.
Right, even that tiny bit of light can mess with melatonin. And keep it cool. Around 65 degrees is ideal.
I can confirm cooler is better.
That's because our temperature drops when we fall asleep. A cool room helps that process along.
What about noise? I live in a city, so silence is basically impossible.
I get it. Noise is tough. If you can't make it totally quiet, try a white noise machine, a fan, or even earplugs. Anything to mask the sound.
Great tips. I'm guessing comfortable bedding matters too?
Big time. A good mattress and pillows that fit how you sleep can make a huge difference.
This is all fantastic advice. I'm feeling inspired to revamp my sleep routine. Before we move on, can we go back to caffeine and alcohol for a second? I'm curious about how they affect sleep specifically.
Of course. They both mess with your sleep, but differently. Caffeine's a stimulant. It stays in your system for hours, so none in the afternoon or evening.
Yeah, learned that one the hard way. Too much coffee in the afternoon and I'm wired at midnight.
Happens to the best of us. And alcohol, it might make you sleepy at first, but then it messes with the good sleep, the deep, restorative kind. You wake up more.
So caffeine keeps you up and alcohol makes your sleep worse.
Yep. And remember, everyone's different. Pay attention to how they affect you and make adjustments.
This is so helpful. I feel like I'm finally getting a handle on my sleep. But we've only talked about adults so far. Can we get into how circadian rhythms are different for different ages?
Absolutely. Our body clocks change throughout our lives. Let's explore that.
All right, we've covered so much. The science behind these body clocks, light, temperature, food, exercise, even how to create like the perfect sleep haven.
A whole toolkit for mastering your circadian rhythm.
Exactly. But before we wrap up, I'm so curious about how these rhythms change throughout our lives. Remember how you mentioned babies are basically on their own time zone?
Oh, yeah. It's like their internal clocks are still under construction.
Yeah.
Lots of melatonin, but not on that regular 24-hour cycle yet.
So all the night wakings and crazy nap schedules, it's not just them being difficult?
Nope. There's a real biological reason for it. Their cycles are way shorter, more frequent. They're driven by hunger, basic needs. It's all about survival at that point.
To all the exhausted parents listening, it's not you, it's just biology.
You got it. And even though their sleep seems all over the place, daylight is a game changer.
So even for babies without a set schedule, get that sunshine, like setting their clocks to the right time.
Exactly. It helps get that melatonin going, sets them up for good sleep habits later on, and as they grow, a consistent bedtime routine helps reinforce those rhythms.
A little predictability goes a long way. What about when they're teenagers? Always wanting to sleep in.
Ah, teenagers.
Nah.
Their rhythms go through some weird stuff too. They actually have this natural delay in their sleep-wake cycle.
So it's not just teenage angst. There's a biological reason they stay up late and sleep till noon.
It's programmed in. Their bodies want to go to bed and wake up later. But that clashes with early school start times, leading to, well, sleep-deprived teens.
Grumpy teenagers, and probably not learning their best either.
Exactly. There's a big push to start school later for teens now to match their natural patterns.
Makes sense. Hopefully that catches on. So things finally settle down in adulthood.
Our rhythms are usually more stable then, but we still have those natural ups and downs in energy.
Oh, like that mid-afternoon slump hits me like a ton of bricks.
That's it. Most adults are super alert, focused in the late morning, early afternoon. Then comes the dip and another surge in the early evening.
So I'm not the only one who suddenly needs a nap at 3 p.m.
It's normal, part of the rhythm. When you understand these swings, you can plan your day better. Do the hard stuff during peak times and take breaks, or do easier things during those dips.
I like it. Work with your body. But what about as we get older? I know sleep gets tougher.
It does. Our sleep patterns change, and we become more sensitive to those disruptions. Melatonin goes down naturally, making it harder to fall asleep and stay asleep.
So our internal clocks get a bit, I don't know, fragile.
Yeah, kind of. Older adults wake up more, might not feel as rested, even after a full night.
Any way to help that?
Definitely. A lot of what we talked about still applies. Regular sleep routine, relaxing bedtime, good sleep environment, exercise. But older adults got to be extra mindful of these things.
So double down on those good habits.
Yep, and be careful with naps. A short one can be good, but long or frequent naps mess with nighttime sleep.
Find that balance, get rest, but don't overdo it.
You got it. And if you're really struggling, see a doctor. There might be something else going on.
Good point. We've learned so much today. From those tiny babies figuring out their clocks to those of us dealing with changes as we age. Amazing how this one system affects us our whole lives.
It is. The big takeaway is understanding how it works gives you the power to make choices that help your health, your well-being, how you function, everything.
I like that. It's not about fighting our biology. It's about understanding it, working with it.
Exactly. And small changes make a difference. Try 1 or 2 new habits, see how you feel.
Listen to your body, right. Pay attention to your energy and try things out to see what works best for you.
You said it perfectly. Tuning into your rhythms can unlock a whole new level of energy, focus, and well-being.
This has been incredible. I feel like I get my body in a whole new way now. Thanks for all the insights today.
Happy to share. I love talking about this stuff.
And to our listeners, we hope you've enjoyed this deep dive as much as we have. Now go out there and start experimenting with your own body clock. Who knows, you might even become a morning person. Until next time, sleep well and live vibrantly.
Thank you for listening to the Wellness Lab Digest. If you receive value from the podcast, I have 3 asks of you. 1, share the show on social media with your friends and tag the show at the Wellness Lab Digest on Instagram. Number 2, please leave a rating and review in whatever app you're listening on. And last but not least, please let me know what topics you would like us to cover in the future. You can contact me at empoweringmen.org/contact. And right now we have a free ebook to get you started on your wellness journey as well. That's empoweringmen.org/contact. To support this podcast, check out our sponsors at the bottom of the page or simply click the Support the Show link